up, y'all? This is Decode Dating, and this is you have to test them. It's a heat check. All right. So my previous video, I talked about vetting and how important it is, especially when you want a new friendship or relationship. Now we're going to speak about how to test them. You have to heat check because you don't want your whole vetting process, depending how long it takes, 6 months, 9 months, a year, even 2 years, and you never actually put that vetting to the test, and then you're gonna go wrong in that part. All right, so after you vet them, you want to test them, but I'm gonna show you different parts on how to test somebody. And I'm not saying you have to force this or tell them, hey, I'm testing you and stuff like that. It's more so let it happen naturally. Basically, after everything they've been through, and if they really want to be in a relationship with you, you got to make sure you put them to the test and know for sure if you want to continue with this person or not. And like I said before, you don't always have to only make it for an intimate or a sexual relationship. You can make it for a friendship. You always want to test your friends to see if they're really your friends and not just there for any monetary gain or potential benefits. Okay, so how I would personally test somebody's loyalty, especially if I'm dealing with a woman, I would test them in a certain environment. So for instance, if I'm, say, 8 months in, 9 months in with this girl, and in my head, in the back of my head, I'm saying, I really want this girl to be my girlfriend or future wife or whatever. Now, how I would test this girl, first thing to test the loyalty is I'll bring them in a certain environment. Now, from the vetting process, she knows my likes and dislikes, because I would definitely state that. I would be transparent and let her know exactly what I like and what I will not accept. Now, it would be up to her if she remembers what I tell her and if she applied that in this relationship that we have, right? So I would take her to the club. Now, I know a lot of people think the club is bad, but for the test, it's a good way to see if your girl will act accordingly, you know? So I would take her to the club, and what I would do is I would be on one side of the club, and I'll make sure I'm far from the bar. Now, what I would do is I tell her, hey, here's some money, go get us some drinks, right? So I'll give her my card and be like, go get her some drinks. Now, I would stand in a part of the club where I can see, and because I'm tall, I'm already 6'3", so I can see over most people, and I would just watch her go and see when she's by the bar if she's having conversation with guys, flirting back with guys, allowing certain conversations to continue. Now, I understand some women do feel unsafe when they're in the club and they'll give small conversations just to make it not awkward, but I will notice and I would see the signs to see if it's any flirtation there or too long of a conversation, or she points over to where I'm standing and, hey, my boyfriend's over there, or somebody that I came with is over there, I'm not interested, and walk away. Now, that's one way to test a woman's loyalty, to see if she will interact or flirt, and from that point you judge it to see if, okay, well, she held it down the way I like, or she didn't. I've done this before personally. I've done it to multiple women, not only the club scene, but just regular everyday life, walking and stuff like that, just to get a clarification on who I'm dealing with and if I want to continue that. That's one way. For on the other side, for females, you can kind of sort of do the same thing. Most of the time, the guy wouldn't want to leave you in the section or wherever you at in the club. He'll most likely take you with him, but you can also still try to watch and see if he's the flirtatious or too friendly guy, and will flirt back with girls or exchange numbers. I have had that happen to me where I was with a girl at the time, just dating, and she went outside with her friends and stuff like that because they were smoking, and as soon as she left, within 2 minutes, a girl came up to me and said, hey, you're cute and stuff like that. So I knew for a fact she was watching me the whole time, knowing that I was with this girl, waited for her to leave and still made her move. And then I told her, I said, hey, listen, you didn't see the girl I was just with, you know, just not to cause any drama and stuff like that. Because imagine if I gave small talk or conversations, or say even if the girl knew her, and just testing to see how it would be, you know, like I said before, I don't tell guys to cheat. I tell guys to be honest. And in that place of my life, I wasn't on that type of time. And so I kindly, dismissed her. She tried twice too, because I said it to her while I was standing there. And then when I went to the bar, she came, she's like, you're real cute. And I just said, you're bugging, and I nipped it in the butt. So that's one way of testing a male or female's loyalty, to see if they're going to be flirtatious, too friendly. But everybody's preference is different. Some people don't mind flirting inside a relationship. I do. We ain't doing that, and we're going to keep it nice and respectful. Second way, this is a way to see if long-term relationships, because if you don't know, most divorces end by the women, but it ends because of finances. It's a quick Google search. You can see that most of the time marriages do end because of finances. So men, please do not like finances, but this is just a test to see if your girl wouldn't mind holding you down if you fall on hard times, because we all do. Most people in America are average at best when it comes to finances, if not lower. So she should know that, hey, if he's not a 6-figure earner or a multimillionaire, it's gonna be a little struggle here and there. Typical people live paycheck to paycheck. So one way to test the finance loyalty, I would say, is ask to borrow money. But I'm not talking about a big amount or just some astronomical numbers like, oh, let me borrow 50,000, knowing that person makes that in a year. That's just uncalled for. So my personal way of testing is something very simple. Hey, can you, I don't get paid till Friday, and say it's Wednesday, I'm a little short on change. Can you send me $50 or $100? Just a little heat check to see if that person will actually fall through. But you gotta do this knowing, having a baseline of knowing how much that person makes, what they do for their career or their job or anything like that. Because you don't want to say $50 to $100 and they're not working or anything like that. Just to be clear, you don't want to be with somebody who's not doing anything. That's just laziness, But after finding out, because you guys been dating for a while, 6 months, 9 months, 8 months, whatever, even a year, and you're trying to make it official, but you want to do the testing phase and the heat check, you have to see if you ask this person to borrow money, they're not going to try to demasculate you, shame you, or you're broke, you're a bum, and stuff like that. Because most of the time, men do invest more in the beginning financially. I would just say in the whole relationship, they always have to put their best foot forward, because the woman wants to know if that guy could provide long term for them. Most women want reassurance and security, and I understand that 100%. I'm not shaming any woman for this. I'm telling the men to make sure your finances are in order. Now, with this test, you could get a little backlash. Don't make it an everyday thing, every week thing. Do not do that. Just test it. You could have the money, and then you just want to see if she could, do it for you. Another way to test, tying into the financial phase, you can also say, hey, can you pick up some groceries for me? And I want some food later. Or can you stop at a fast food restaurant and get me some food? Now, if she's saying, oh, I don't have no money, can you send money? That's one thing you have to look out for, knowing that she has money, or she'd be like, okay, are you going to send the money? That's a kind of a red flag to me, in my eyes, that, hey, you wanted a $20 dinner or a $30 dinner, and she's saying, oh, can you send the money? Now, if she doesn't want to go get the food for you after you done invested so much into this girl, that's a sign where it's like, hey, later in the future, if I was ever supposed to be sick or hungry, she wouldn't want to get it. She would want me to send the money, and she wouldn't invest a little bit of change just to make sure I'm good, So that's another way. Tying back into testing loyalty, this is off finances. This is another thing I like to do, is I like to tell a fake story. Now, hear me out on this. A fake story meaning that it's not true, or a little gossip or pillow talking. I don't advise this all the time. It's just to see if she would spread your business everywhere. Now, the same way a man could do this for a woman could do this for a man. The finances, typically, the woman is not going to ask to borrow money, because if she does, most likely the guy's going to give it. You women can still test the guy financially and see if he's going to give you some money, but remember, it's a time frame. You can't do this 3 days into the talking stage and ask, can I borrow $100? It's gonna look kind of weird. Have I done that before? It wasn't a test, but it played out in my favor. But at the same time, be careful. If you really like this person, you don't want to show any red flags so early. Well, I wouldn't say at all. But going back to telling the fake story, now, how you want to tell the fake story is come up with a scenario, one of your friends or something like that, and just give a little fake story. Make it very interesting and make it make sense though. Don't tell a fake story and it just doesn't mesh well. After that fake story, tell her at the end of that fake story, please don't tell anybody, because it's very personal. Now, keep that fake story for a while, bring her around your friends, make sure your friends know about the fake story, tell them, and see if you can get her to talk about the story after your friends talk about it, but not in full detail, because that goes to show that she can't hold down anything you tell her. She's a blabbermouth. She loves to gossip. She feeds off the drama. You know what I'm saying? I don't advise any man to really go tell their full business about something very personal or their friends, because if you guys do not last, there's ammo in her gun for her to tell anybody anything about what's going on with your friends or anything like that. And that's not a good look for you, because it makes you look like a bad person. So that's another way. So we have testing their loyalty as far as going out and see if they're flirtatious, too friendly. The other one is financially. You want to see if they're not too mad at you asking to borrow some money. Don't do no crazy numbers and say, let me borrow $1,000, my rent's due, or anything like that. You want to stay within a small amount. Once you guys actually get into a relationship, you'll test a little bit, but then she'll understand, like, you know, hey, this man's been holding it down. He's in a little rough area in his life. I don't mind holding it down for a little bit. That's cool. Because I always say, if a woman likes you enough, she don't mind spending money on you. Because a lot of women don't want to spend money on men. It's always the opposite sex, the man spending money on the woman. Okay, and then telling the fake story, that's another way. Most of these tests are going to be, well, can be a serious problem in the relationship if not checked before getting in a relationship. So after you do the vetting, you really like this girl. A lot of people could put on the front. After doing the vetting, you could really like this guy, but a lot of people put on the front. After all of that's being said, you have to test them. You have to do a heat check. You got to make sure all the time you invested from vetting pays off. You know, this is very small. This is mediocre. This is not nothing too big and extravagant. It's more just say, hey, before I step fully into this relationship, I want to make sure I can honestly trust the person. These are the baseline things, okay? This all goes off preference too. A lot of people would say, hey, I'm not doing that test and stuff like that. That's not gonna work for me. That's cool. That's all fine. This is for people who have a slight different preference. Some men don't mind their girl flirting, or they don't want to seem as a brokey and ask to borrow money from the girl. That's all fine. This is for people who don't mind testing the person and seeing if this person aligns with them long term. These are all tests that you can run after the vetting process. If you want to do it during the vetting process, that's all fine by you, but it's all preference based. I've done these tests before. Don't tell them after, hey, I tested you to see and stuff like that, because now she's always going to have in the back of her mind, hey, he's going to test me when he asks me this, so I have to. You don't want to manipulate them to do it. You just want to see if they're genuinely going to give you the money, they're genuinely going to dub the person that they're talking to, they genuinely care about your feelings, and they don't want to spread your business everywhere. These are good tests to run after the vetting process. So try to apply them if you see fit to the person. Remember, if you get results that you don't like, you can run a different test. You could wait another month to see, like, okay, she didn't do this test or he didn't do this test to my liking. I'm gonna give it another month or so. But if this person continues to fail the test in your way, then you know where you have to put them. You know you should exit this relationship, because if you get into this relationship and shit starts hitting the fan, you tell them a fake story, your business gets spread all over town, then you be like, okay, this person's a dub. It's a fake story, so you shouldn't feel any type of way. If you ask to borrow money and they do, or you're gonna send them money or demasculate you or say you're a brokey, you already know you gotta put this person. If you go out with them and they're too flirtatious and they're getting numbers from other people and they think you're not paying attention and you are, you know where you gotta put this person. Always test them, do a little heat check, and make sure before you get in a relationship, it's up to your liking. Subscribe, like, share this with somebody who might be vetting somebody and they're at the end of the vetting stage and they want to get in a relationship. Tell them to make a heat check, tell them to test them. Like, share, subscribe.